Right now, 77% of young Americans between the ages 17 and 24 cannot qualify for military service. Not because they don't want to serve, but because physically, metabolically, and even psychologically, they don't meet the standard. We spend well over $4 trillion a year, 4 trillion on healthcare. Yet obesity, diabetes, autoimmune conditions, even metabolic disease are climbing at record rates and not falling, even though we're spending more than most countries even make in their total GDP. So here's the real question. What is actually happening inside of our bodies? Because most people are just guessing on what's truly going on inside of our bodies. They're guessing with their nutrition, they're guessing with their supplements. They don't know if they're actually being absorbed and actually working inside their body. They're guessing with their overall health. And in 2026, guys, right now, guessing has become optional. So today we're going to get into this health crisis that we're going, and we're going to stop talking about what happens when you stop guessing and actually start measuring. And that's what I'm super excited about, to be able to bring actual solutions to this problem, because it's a major problem. I was listening to multiple podcasts with a lot of different healthcare experts the other day, and just really deep diving into what is really going on in America. We spend the most on healthcare, but yet we're the sickest. We don't have a food shortage problem. We have a nutritional problem. That's what's really going on in America. And again, like I was saying, if you can't really measure what's really going on inside of your body, then you're just guessing is what I'm taking, is what I'm eating, is it really affecting my body the way I want it to? Because I've told y'all many times, I'm one of these guys that's a real simple guy. I really believe if you feed your body what it needs, it's going to perform like it should. I think that's how God made us. But yet, because of the way they're raping all the good nutrients out of our food, so we're not getting as much as we used to out of our food, or the ultra processed foods that they've introduced over the last several decades, our bodies are starving for what they actually need. So I was doing some research into this, and let's talk about the rising chronic illnesses that we've been seeing over decades, right? If you really look at chronic conditions like obesity, diabetes, heart disease, they've exploded, right? They've exploded. So even though we're spending over $4 trillion, it's literally the third largest line item in our federal budget. Third largest, over 4 trillion a year. People aren't getting healthier. They're getting sicker, right? They're getting chronically ill. And that's a major problem. If you think back, like I said, 38% of teens being diabetic or pre-diabetic right now. 38%, right? That's over 1 in 3 of our kids are either diabetic or pre-diabetic. And what's sad about that is it's completely diet-based. It's completely diet-based. And you can correct this by giving your body what it needs. But the problem is most people just kind of kick the can, or they think that it is what it is. And it's crazy. Even Alzheimer has started to be labeled as type 3 diabetes. What does that mean? Does that mean that it's because of our diet, because of our lifestyle, because of these things, that's what's happening? I truly believe that. I don't think we have to age like this. I think we can age like this. I really believe that. And I know by science that we have the ability to affect the way we age. Again, welcome this week to the Live Younger, Longer podcast. My name is Jason Harris, and I'm passionate about this because, again, this whole community that I want to build is around people that want to get the most life out of every year they have on this earth. And sadly, as you watch people age, and you can just go out in public and just see how most people are living. Last night I was at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, and it was prevalent about how you see how mobile some people were and how immobile some people were. How some people could easily walk up and down the stadium steps, and how most people struggle to do it. How we age is completely in our hands. Now, I know that there are going to some things that happen sometimes where you might get diagnosed with cancer or something like that. But there's ways nutritionally that we can help combat that disease as well. But again, if you don't really know what's going on inside of your body, then you're really guessing on what's going on. And that's where I'm so excited about this device that we're actually launching into the marketplace right here, because this allows us to stop guessing what's going on. Now, if you think about it, there's over a third of Americans right now wearing some type of wearable, right? They're wearing a Fitbit or a Ring, a Whoop band, an Apple Watch, a blood glucose monitor. They're wearing something to try to figure out, okay, how is my body functioning? What's going on with my body? Now, the major problem with all of these wearables is they don't give any type of solution on how to fix it. That's where this device right here changes the game. And honestly, if you're watching this podcast, you're one of the few people in the world that are even being introduced to this technology. And I'm super excited to be able to talk about it today because, again, in 2026, we have the ability to stop guessing. So, if you really think about it, we spend more on healthcare than almost any other developed nation in the world, but yet we're the least healthy. So, if you think about cost versus outcome, trillions are spent with, honestly, our population health results going down, and it's because of diet and lifestyle choices. Is it easier to run through McDonald's and grab a meal than it is to cook a meal? For sure. But honestly, if you look at prices these days, is it cheaper to cook a home cooked meal than it is to go through a lot of these fast foods? I know with me and my three boys, if the whole family, if the five of us go out to Chick-fil-A, we're going to spend 70 bucks at a fast food restaurant, right? And so if you think about it, I could go buy a packet of steaks and it might be $30 for the steaks to feed a whole family. And I can control what I put on it and how I cook it. And I can create a healthier meal for far less than it would cost us to go out to dinner, right? And that's just where we are. So if you think about some of the poor diet and lifestyle choices, and I'm so grateful that we have Robert F. Kennedy trying to make a major impact on this and how we're trying to change the way people are. I mean, how insane is it that people can use SNAP cards or food stamps for candy and Cokes and stuff like that, stuff that's horrible for you, but yet people can get it on their food stamps. So for them, it's free for the taxpayer. What is that compound effect that if people are able to buy stuff like that on those government assisted programs, that's leading to this health crisis that's even more and more of our tax dollars being spent on it. So you really got to connect the dots, right? So honestly, what I love about this device is, what if you could see inside of your body, like inflammation markers, metabolic responses, nutrient deficiencies, and it could, and what if you could change what you're doing today? And I love, if you've never been introduced to a book called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, what it talks about in there is how small incremental changes over time can create a massive result, right? And that's what I'm talking about. So think about, no matter what your age is right now, or think about our kids. If I can scan my kids and I can see what's happening going on inside of their body, and I start making small incremental changes to what they're eating, what they're consuming, what they're supplementing with, think about what that compound effect over their lifetime is going to be. It's going to be exponential. It's almost like doubling a penny. But yet, if you ask the average person, if I give you $100,000 today, or if I double a penny for a month, what do most people do? Right? They're like, I want that $100,000, right? They want that instant gratification. But yet, do you know, if you double a penny for a month, yeah, it starts out really small. It's like nothing. 1 goes to 2, goes to 4, goes to 8. But by the end of a month, it's over $10 million, right? There's an exponential compound effect that happens. And we can do that with our nutrition. We can do that with our health. So what really concerns me the most is with our young people. Like I was saying earlier, 77% of our young people between 17 and 24 cannot qualify to serve for the military. They either can't meet the standards because they're so out of shape, or they have some kind of metabolic disorder, or they have physical inactivity, right? They have massive educational gaps. They have drug or legal issues, or they have health problems and health conditions. It's insane when you think about 3 out of 4 of our 17 to 24-year-olds literally could not qualify to get in the military right now. And so when you really think about that in practically, um, practical terms, roughly only 23% of youth are fully eligible without a waiver. 23%. Now, I don't know about you, but in my mind, people that are 17 to 24 should be in some of the best shape of their life, right? They don't have a lot of the age-related things that are going on in their body, right? They should be full of vitality, full of energy, full of stamina, right? They should have all these massive biomarkers that are super high in their body, but yet where are most of them? And we see it. Look, go through any school pickup line. How many kids are overweight? Now, as a parent, what I always thought when my kids were growing up, if I don't buy it, they can't eat it, right? If it's not in the house, it's not available. And so growing up, we made it a thing where they didn't have sodas in the house. We never bought sodas. So the majority of their life, they were drinking milk, they were drinking water, right? Sometimes, tea or something like that, or a healthy juice, but they didn't have access to it, so they couldn't drink it. I was talking with one of my athletes the other day because I do have a coaching program that I offer to people, and I was talking to one of my athletes the other day, and she was laughing. She was like, I can't get rid of this. Like, I'm working out, I can't get rid of this. And I just started talking to her. I said, okay, so what's your diet like? Like, what are you doing? What are you drinking? And she was like, well, I have a Coke problem. I drink 4 Cokes a day. And I was like, oh my gosh, like if you would just cut that off, if you just stop that right there, that would make such a massive difference in your body. Just cutting out sodas. But yet that's where we are, right? Like it is a national health problem right now. And people are waking up to it, but they're not addressing it. Most of the time they're not addressing it because they don't know how to address it. They don't know where to start. So think about anybody that wants to lose weight. What's the first thing they do typically? They jump on a scale, right? They find out, okay, what is where's my starting point? Where do I start? Then what's my end goal? They have that biomarker, right? A biomarker. They have a marker, right? They're tracking it. Right now, this is what I love about this, because this IO connects to my phone. So literally every day I can hold my finger right on that little light right there every day, 15 seconds, get my wellness and nutritional score. I can see where I'm at. The app indexes it, so it shows me like over the last 3 days what it does. And I can see if I'm trending up, am I trending down, like where am I at with my health? And I can have the app really helps me make recommendations where it talks about my sleep. Sleep is where your body repairs itself. How many of us are dealing with bad sleep, right? So it helps me with not only my lifestyle choices that can help improve my nutritional score, but it also helps me with supplementation and nutritional recommendations. And I can track it. If it's worth doing, it's worth tracking. And that's really where we are today with being able to get in this. Think about military standards require baseline fitness and body composition. So the inability to meet those standards highlights a broader public health failure that we've been dealing with, especially when it comes to nutritional and physical activities. How many kids literally can't run around one lap of the track without being completely gassed? Right. I remember when my boys were growing up, we had one of our neighbors who was overweight, and I always felt bad for him because they would be playing tag or, doing what boys do, right? Just being rambunctious and having fun. And this poor kid, I mean, in 5 minutes, he was done. He was he was wasted. And I'm thinking, man, he should be in the prime of his life. I remember when I was a kid, you couldn't keep me inside. I was always on my bike. We were playing football or we're playing baseball out in the park all the time. We're going swimming all the time. We're doing something. Like we were just go, 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 go. Now, if you look at half these kids, they couldn't go for 5 minutes without being completely gassed out. It is a major problem. Only 40% of young adults are both weight eligible and physically active eligible even to train. Think about that. Only 40% are either weight eligible or physically active enough to actually train. It is insane what is going on. So if you think about, again, the compound effect works in both ways. So if you start making small incremental changes to your health and nutrition, that compound effect can be very advantageous as you get older. But just like it kind of referenced in the book, if you eat a candy bar today, no big deal. If you eat one every day for a year, it's going to have a compound effect, right? It's going to go. So if you think about these young people now, and how they're living, what is that compound effect to their overall health when they get in their 20s, 30s, 40s? I mean, I have had two friends, well, one in their early 40s, one in their early 50s, both have to have complete open heart surgery and have a quadruple bypass. One in their 40s, one in their 50s. It's kind of crazy what is going on. And when you think about nutrition, metabolic health, and things like that, and what we can control. So one of the massive problems right now is the difference between processed food and real food, right? There's that, as I say, joke, but there's that saying that, if you want to do your best at the grocery store, stay to the outer aisles, right? If you think about what's on the outside, the perimeter, it's your fruit and vegetables, it's all your meats, and it's some of your dairy products, right? Your eggs, your milk, things like that. That's on the outside. What's always on the inside of the store and down the aisles is processed garbage. Our body doesn't know what to do with it most of the time, right? And I'm not saying I'm some purist who never has cheat meals and all that. I mean, one of my biggest downfalls just for crunchiness and texture typically is having a few chips with my meals. Right. So it's not like I don't ever eat anything like that. I'll be 100% honest. But what do I do? Because I know that's a kind of a weakness of mine is chips. Right. And back in the day, it was nothing for me to grab a bag of tortilla chips and sit down with a big bowl of salsa and just smash half of it. Right. But what I recognize, okay, I have an issue here. So let me just buy the little bitty bags. So if I have a bag of chips, it's one of the real small little bags, right? And now I do try to make healthier choices when it comes to that. And there's healthier choices that you can have when it comes to even things like tortilla chips and stuff like that, where people actually make them with beef tallow and using beef fat instead of some of these saturated oils. And so you can get a little more nutritious option. But that's one of our major thing. I mean, if you think about the consequence between a diet and high refined carbs, sugar, synthetic adjectives, things like that, it it has a major impact on blood sugar, inflammation, the lipids in the body. I mean, it has a major impact. Like your body's freaking out because it does not know what to do with it. God did not create us and create our bodies in a way to know what to do with all this processed stuff. He made us in a way to live off the land and the sea, right? I mean, whatever we hunted, whatever we grew, that's what our bodies are used to. But as the whole industrial revolution happened, and as people started saying, oh, if I put this additive and this additive, right? What's the joke about a Twinkie? Right, a Twinkie, right? When they were used to be available, that was like the ultimate survival food, right? Because it would last forever. Well, anything that does that, it can't be healthy for your body. How does your body know how to digest it and or use anything that's able to sit on the shelves forever? It just doesn't make sense. So you got to really think about it and think about how the role of personalization and being able to measure, guys, like this Prism device, again, it gives real personalized precision data on how someone's body responds to what they eat. So things like your glycemic response, your micronutrient levels, inflammation markers, metabolic deficiencies, things like that. We can help get these back on track. Like your body is an amazing machine, right? It's an amazing machine. And no matter where you start, you can reset your body. Your body can heal itself. It's a miracle, honestly, how we're made. And that's why I know we were made by intelligent design because of how our bodies are. And you can correct a lot of these different things. And so, if you think about if someone cut out sugar or processed fats for just 30 days, what that internal measurement would show over those 30 days, and honestly, because you're measuring and can track it, it's going to have a motivational effect on your body or on your mind, on everything, right? It's going to create that motivational response. Now I know before this scanner was this size, right? Like it used to be about 3 pounds. It was pretty big, and honestly, it was always even though we've had this technology for over 20 years, and we've been scanning people all over the world for 20 years with our old version of the scanner. It was an accessibility issue, honestly. So we only had about 5,000 in the world. So most people never had access to this kind of technology. But we did. And as our boys were growing up, when we talk about creating a behavioral change and a motivation, a behavioral change, we saw as we scanned our boys when they were young, they would all get their score. And inevitably, one would be higher than the others, right? There was always a winner, right? In life, there are winners and losers. I know people don't like to talk about that, but there are winners and losers in everything we do in life. And so it motivated my boys to make different changes because they wanted to beat their brother. They didn't know about antioxidants and free radicals and oxidative stress and metabolic problems. They didn't know about any of that stuff. What did they know? My score's lower than my brother and I want to beat him. And so what happened on the back end? They started making better choices on their own. I didn't have to remind them to take their vitamins every day, right? They would just do it. Instead of grabbing a bag of chips out of the pantry, they would go and grab blueberries or strawberries or whatever, right? Fruits and vegetables. Why? Even at the dinner table, it wasn't like eat your fruits, vegetables. You're not getting up till you do that. That was me as a kid. I hated vegetables when I was growing up. And I was like, you're going to sit there till you eat it. That was the conversation at our dinner table. But yet, then my boys started making different choices because they were able to see their score. And again, they just wanted to beat their brother. So it was a complete motivation behavioral change that happened in them. And so we can do it. And sadly, or where I think the world is heading is to more prevention versus treatment. Right. So that's where we're going. We're kind of shifting from illness management. And let me tell you, sadly, a massive part of our healthcare system is illness management, right? Think about it. If you go to your doc and he says, hey, your cholesterol's a little high or whatever, let's just use cholesterol. Your cholesterol's a little high. Do they talk to you about nutritional differences that you can make, or do they want to put you on a statin? Right? Think about how all that is correlated. And sadly, there's a large part of our medical community that gets paid to put people on these different drugs. And so are they trying to cure you and get you off of them? Or is it to their financial benefit to keep you on them? And then, well, this is causing this side effect. So maybe you need to get on this to counteract this side effect. But now this one's causing this. Now we need to get you on a third to counteract that. That's counteracting that. It's illness management. And for far too long, that's where we've been. It's been illness management versus prevention, right? That's your traditional model, right? Wait till your symptoms show up and then treat it. I don't want the symptoms. I don't know about you. I don't want the symptoms. And it was just like I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day who was concerned about his liver a little bit. We have a really good product that's great for liver support. And and it's not the cheapest product out there, but I was like, what is your liver worth? And your liver can regenerate itself, right? Like it's an amazing organ in our body, but it also filters everything we put in it. But what is your liver worth? Is it worth $2 a day? Right? Like let's be real. And I do spend a lot of money on my supplementation a month and on my diet a month. But I'm never in the doctor's office. I'm never having to worry about a lot of these symptoms. I'm not going through it. I'm 50 years old. And so again, is it cheaper overall for me to pay what I am a month, even if say I'm spending $200 a month? And you don't have to do that, but just say, let's use a round number. I'm spending $200 a month on my health, right? So $1,200 a year, but I'm never at the doctor's office. I'm not on prescriptions. I'm not on anything. So is it cheaper? Or is it cheaper to not spend that kind of money on yourself and on your health and on your longevity? And yet wait till the symptoms show and then try to fix it or go through treatment to try to fix it. What's always cheaper? Prevention is always cheaper, guys. Using internal measurement to guide proactive decisions is what I'm talking about, right? Making internal measurements. Now, the beautiful thing about this, again, it's a very precise instrument and it's measuring in the living tissue. Literally, as I turn it on, and I can't show you the readout, but literally as I turn it on, see how that little light's going right there? You can kind of see it. All I got to do is put my finger over that for 15 seconds. And it's very, very precise. And so by using that internal measurement, it can guide me to make proactive decisions to my body, right? That's what it's all about. Now, of course, you want to be over here, right? Blue or purple, that's where you want to be, right? Sadly, most people range in these lower two levels right here. And so if you know where you're starting, you can start making proactive decisions because of your internal measurement. You can see, okay, are my supplements actually being absorbed by the body? Or are my fruits and vegetables actually being absorbed, like those nutrients? Or am I literally passing them? And sadly, especially in the supplementation world right now, most of it's going in one end and straight out the other. It's not being absorbed. You're just passing it right through. And so we really got to think about that. So think about the case for lifestyle medicine, right? Diet, movement, sleep, stress, they're all measurable and they're all trackable, right? Meta health data is more actionable than symptoms lists, right? And that's what I really want to get by. We can really get through it. So I wanted you to think about something. What if you track something for 30 days and see what happens? Right now, I want you to engage with your body. I want you to get in tune with it. And again, these aren't even available to the mass public yet. I do have access to some that I can get you if you're interested. You can comment or send me a DM or comment in the comments, and we can start that conversation. But it's just like money. If you want to see where your money's going, track it. I challenged one of my teenager boys to do that the other day. I said, man, I want you to go back to your last month's bank statements and add up just food cost, and see how much money you spend on food, right? It is eye-opening, right? You start tracking it. You want to know where your money's going? If you feel like you're broke all the time, track your money for 30 days. If your weight's not where you want it to be, track your food, right? Track things. Really, I encourage you to really, really go through that and take that challenge. Just track something for 30 days. And you'd be honestly shocked, because most of us mentally, we think we're doing a lot better than we are, right? And that's just how it is. So, health isn't just feeling okay. It's actually measurable inside your body. That's what I really want to get through with this episode. Again, I have access to these devices where you can really start measuring what's going on inside your body. All right, so you can make the proactive choices now that will lead to a massive compound effect that you will be thanking yourself in your 60s, 70s, and 80s, right? So that's what I really want to get through. Nutrition and lifestyle drive, they drive long-term disease trends. We can always look back at your nutrition and your lifestyle decisions. That's where it drives long-term disease trends. And we know this. Personalized tracking changes behavior, and it changes the ultimate results that we're going inside of our body. And again, I want you to think about that compound effect of what happens if you start making small incremental changes today, what that's going to be over the next. And I don't know the math right off my head, but I'll give you an example. A buddy of mine challenged me when I turned 50. He said, man, I want you to do 50 push-ups in the morning, 50 push-ups at night. Right? You're 50, do 50 and 50. Now I'm like, all right. And literally that takes me 2 minutes a day. It takes me about a minute to do my first 50. I can do a set of 50. And it takes me a minute to do my second 50, right? About a second of push-up. It takes me less than 2 minutes a day. But what is that change going to happen to my body over a month? Right? That's 3,000 push-ups in a month. What's that times 12, right? 36,000 push-ups in a year. Like, how is that going to compound to help shape my body, to help keep my body strong? That compound effect, anybody doing 50 today, what is it going to be like in a year of that compound effect? And that's what I really want to get through, and being able to measure 15 seconds a day. And you don't have to measure yourself every day. You can do it every other day, you do it once a week. But by having a device like this at home, so you can start tracking, and again, in the app, it'll index it all for you. You can see your own trend line, you can see everything. And start making those small choices. That's where things really get exciting, because that compound effect, again, what's going on over our lifetime, that's where it really gets exciting. And that's what I really wanted to get through today. Because if you really think about the reality of what we are, or where we are today, right? I mean, honestly, we're not lacking for, or suffering, should I say? We're not suffering for a lack of information, but we are suffering from a lack of awareness, right? That's really where we are right now. And the average person knows that sugar isn't great. They know sleep matters. They know movement matters, right? But knowing isn't the same as seeing. And when you can really see your inflammation, when you can see your metabolic responses, when you can see what that healthy meal actually did to your body, that's when change becomes real. We're living in a time where over, again, 70% of military age young men, they can't qualify to serve. Chronic disease is normal. Medication is the first response instead of the last response. So it's not a genetic crisis, guys. It's a feedback crisis. And the good news is that feedback is fixable, right? You don't have to guess what your body's doing. You don't have to wait for symptoms to come. And you don't have to accept that decline is normal. Like I said, we know through science now that you don't have to age like this. And that's why I started this whole platform, because that age gap is widening, right? So we are living longer. Or I'm sorry, that health gap is widening. We are living longer, but the quality of our life is not keeping up to it, right? It does not have to be that way. Our health span can keep in line with our age. Our sex span can keep in line with our age. And since I just brought that up, do you know, if you have erectile dysfunction, do you know that's one of the number one um, warning signs to a cardiac problem, to a heart problem, or something going on with your cardiovascular system? It's one of the number first things, right? So if you're needing some kind of pills to help you get on up, you need to go get your heart checked, because it's a blood flow issue, right? That's it. I guess it's normally a symptom of a cardiac problem, a cardiovascular problem. So again, decline doesn't have to be normal, guys. You can measure it, you can adjust, and then optimize it. Your body is always talking to you. It's always talking to you. The real question is, are you finally ready to start listening? Or do you want to do what most people do, where they just put the blinders on, right? They walk around like this. They don't want to face it because it's easier now. But what's going to happen in another 5 years, another 10 years, or something like that? And that's what I really want to get through to you tonight. So I really appreciate your time. If this was of value, please like and subscribe to the page, share it with your friends, because this is something that we can control, we can measure, and we can start to make those small adjustments to start optimizing our health, versus, again, waiting for a symptom to come and then trying to fix it. It's always easier. It's always easier, much easier and cheaper to be proactive toward your health now than waiting for those signs and symptoms to occur and then try to be reactive to try to fix it. And with that, guys, I'll see you next week. Take care. God bless. This is a Live Younger, Longer podcast.